our family. And we're waiting for the press secretary, KAYLEIGH McENANY. She's going to hold a briefing, and it's an urgent press conference. We need to know what's going on.
All right, folks. So we'll be switching over to the White House in just a moment. We got the footage, so just give me a second here. You're going to see a screen that says, "Please stand by," and we'll go on from there. I'll be switching over to the White House in just a few moments. Thank you so much for choosing Golden State Time as your stream of choice. All right, just give me a second here, and we'll be switching over to the White House as we already have footage. I just wanted to check on the White House to see if everything was running smoothly or what was going on. All right, even the mic is on too, folks. The mic is on.
Black Label family, this is a shared stream. Shout out to Golden State Times.
Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
All right, so the mic is on and everything is ready to go.
Ja, ja, wel. Er zijn op dit ogenblik twee rechtszaken waarop de Trump-administratie nog verder heeft gecommuniceerd. En die zijn in Georgia bij de tweede hertelling. En dan in Michigan willen ze dus ook nog een aantal stembiljetten die
All right, since you guys hear that she's speaking in another language, that's the foreign press representative that is going to be in the press briefing today. Unless you're from where she's from, I don't understand what she's saying. So I want to give a big shout out here to Patriots David Martin and also John Ward for your help and your support through Super Chat. If I missed your Super Chat or your membership, I apologize, Great Patriots, but I was trying to figure out what was going on with the White House. But as you guys can see, we are now ready to go. So if you supported us through Super Chat, if you supported us through membership, thank you for not only believing in Golden State Times, but supporting the free press. As you guys can see, this live stream is 100% ad-free. There's no advertisements anywhere on this live stream. Just give me a second here. All right, so there's absolutely no advertisements on this live stream. This live stream is powered by the people, the Patriots who help us through Super Chat, and also all the members in the chat. So we want to give a big shout out to all the Patriots with a Trump hat next to their name in the chat. All right, here we go.
And shout out to all of you. You don't have to be a Democrat to love this country. Shout out to everybody that loves America. Democrats, whatever you are. Republican, if you love America, shout out to you. Now we do know that this has been said to be an urgent briefing. So this is breaking news, Black Label Reviews family, and we want to know what's going on. So stand by.
A lot of people say that I'm Dave Rubin. No, I'm not Dave Rubin. Trust me, I'm not.
I think we have a chair there.
I never really seen his show, to be honest with you. I know who he is, but I really haven't seen any of his work. I'll check it out.
Thank you.
Got it?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much.
Yes, go ahead. Okay.
I'd like to give a big shout out to Roar. Thanks so much, Roar, for your help and your support through Super Chat. And most importantly, believing in Golden State Times and supporting
Just for you, Ollie, nobody else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stand by, let me turn it on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right.
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Yes, sir. You heard? Yeah, no, whoever says up to start, whoever starts something. How are you? Good, nice to see you.
I'd like to give a big shout out to the Old Guard Resistance. Thanks so much, Old Guard Resistance, for your help and your support through Super Chat. But most importantly, believing in Golden State Times and supporting the free press. This live stream is powered by the people. Here at Golden State Times, there's no advertisements on our live stream. So thanks so much, great patriots, in the chat with the Trump hats next to your name, and also the Old Guard Resistance for your support through Super Chat.
Hello. I got you guys. Hi guys, how are you?
I would briefing the face with
Hi there, I'm great, how y'all doing? Perfect, thanks guys.
Not too bad. Probably Jackson. There's a lot of coming down. Exactly, coming down. Like, I need to know the number of states. What is it? Sorry, was that? Yeah, I read a book about something here. A lot of content there. Exactly. Some good, some bad. Exactly. I really like that. I think the book you know, I think right. Just because Trump's gonna be like he's back in 4 years, you know, it's not gonna fly.
And we're standing by waiting for KAYLEIGH McENANY. She's going to hold an urgent press briefing, BLR family. Let's see what's going on here.
Starting motor. Yeah. You know which one it is? Sounds like this one. You see it?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah.
Now, KAYLEIGH is the press, she's actually the press secretary. So,
all right, great Patriots. I'd like
this
to
should
give a
be
big
very
shout out to
interesting.
Stop Bugging and Talk. Oh, I'm sorry. Stop Bugging. It doesn't even give you the last of it. It just says Stop Bugging. So thank you so much, great Patriot, for your help and your support. YouTube does not let you see your whole name, Patriot. I apologize. Diane Greenfield, thanks so much for becoming a new member, believing in Golden State Times, and supporting the free press. So I put a little bit of the slow mode on the chat, just like around 10 seconds, just so everybody can enjoy the chat. I'll give a shout out to all Patriots who are supporting us through Super Chat and through membership.
I think
at the end,
it's like
I'm just making
fan
sure that everything is running smooth.
Yeah, it's still covered, but I think he said it's the cooling.
Shout out again to Golden State Times
As long as he can still move it, that's good.
for sharing out this video. And also, shout out to Right Side Broadcasting Network. Be sure to go over and subscribe to both of their channels, Black Label Reviews Family, for continuing news coverage about this government. You definitely don't want to be asleep on those two shows. We know about Fox. But you're going to get the truth from these two channels. And then once you
so we have a great
the information,
Mo Bond
you
that says,
can
Golden State
decide
Times, can you explain what
do you think DLR
front doing nothing? I have seen this multiple times before, but why? The answer is the lady in front is from a big news network. The ones in the very, very front of the room, they are from either CNN, ABC, or Fox News. They're the only ones that are allowed to be in the very, very front. Someone's like, hey, she's from CNN. Now, she is there to do a report for CNN before the press briefing actually begins. All of them do it. CNN, Fox News, ABC. They do a report, they spew fake news before the actual press briefing. So then that way, their viewers just see her and not see the actual thing. They don't show them the actual press briefing. Here at Golden State Times, it's the other way around. You don't need a bobblehead like her. You don't need a airhead or any of those things. You get to see the raw footage of what is going on at the press briefing. So that is the short answer to your question. I hope that you understand now what's going on.
Be sure again to drop a comment below after the stream, Black Label Reviews Family. One love.
I'll leave them.
Hey, Harris, well, even as these whistleblowers speak out, the Attorney General, Bill Barr, made it very clear yesterday that the Department of Justice has not uncovered evidence of widespread voter fraud enough to alter the outcome of the election. Now, after quite a bit of pushback from the Trump campaign, the Department of Justice put out a statement last night noting that, quote, the department will continue to receive and vigorously pursue all specific and credible allegations of fraud.
All right, folks, so they're spewing the fake news. So I'd like to give a big shout out here to XR Pizza. Thanks so much, JP, for your help and your support.
Fake news.
Also, we want to give a shout out to Z-Master. Thanks so much for becoming a new member, believing in Golden State Times, and supporting the free press.
House Oversight Committee. Remember, Michigan certified the election results last week, and President-elect Joe Biden won that state by about 154,000 votes, and so far, none of the campaign's lawsuits in that state have been successful. As for these whistleblowers, two subcontractors for the U.S. Postal Service have come forward saying that they witnessed some irregularities with mail-in ballots. Here's the White House press secretary talking about that just last night.
All right, so I'd like to give a big thank you here to Drone Flying with Bruno. Keep it safe. Thanks so much, Great Patriot, for your help and your support through Super Chat. We also want to give a big thank you to Staff Sergeant Viper. Thank you so much, Great Patriot. Thank you so much for believing in Golden State Times and supporting the free press through Super Chat. Give me 1 second as I turn back the mic on. Give me a second here. There we go.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome, Tosh Time, to the live. Welcome in, Tosh. Thank you for coming in to support the stream. You a real one, girl. Yeah, I wonder what she's going to say too. This is an urgent press briefing that she has called. So this should be very revealing, BOR family. Great question, Tosh. Again, guys, be sure to go over and support the Tosh Time Homeless Foundation. She's out feeding people. Please support her. Show her some love and respect, because she's not playing. She's out there making sure people are not going hungry. That is so wonderful. So shout out to her. Tosh, could you please drop your links, please?
We would like to give a big thank you and a welcome.
Thank you for your support.
To Maureen Tiggy, thanks so much, Great Patriot, for becoming a new member, believing in Golden State Times, and supporting the free press.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You are what helps us live stream here on YouTube and helps us continue live streaming here on YouTube. As this live stream, all of our live streams here at Golden State Times are powered by the people. We are powered by the people, folks. So all of the live streams that we do are 100% ad-free here at Golden State Times. KAYLEIGH McENANY is on her way out, folks. She is on her way out.
Good afternoon, everyone. The United States Constitution matters even during a pandemic. While Democrat politicians seek to impose draconian restrictions against their citizens, this past week, the Supreme Court of the United States had their say on New York State's capacity restrictions, which restricted the number of attendees allowed in places of worship, but not other government-deemed essential businesses. Justice Gorsuch in the ruling said this as he rolled back Governor Cuomo's restrictions on places of worship. He said, quote, "It is time, past time, to make plain that while the pandemic poses many grave challenges, there is no world in which the Constitution tolerates color-coded executive edicts that reopen liquor stores and bike shops, but shutter churches, synagogues, and mosques." Behind me, you will see displayed images of Democrat hypocrisy playing on loop. These images depict the following. They show Governor Gavin Newsom of California dining both maskless and indoors at the fancy French Laundry restaurant despite severe lockdown restrictions against indoor dining for the very people he governs. You'll see Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot celebrating in the non-socially distant streets of her city. You will see Speaker Nancy Pelosi indoors at a hair salon in San Francisco when salons in California were only open for outdoor services. And you will see CNN's Chris Cuomo staging his emergence from quarantine in a made-for-television moment, coming out of the basement. And this was after Cuomo was spotted breaking his brother, Governor Cuomo's quarantine rules to go for a bike ride in the Hamptons. Also notable is San Francisco Mayor London Breed, who followed Governor Newsom's lead in dining at the French Laundry with a group of 8 people. And finally, Los Angeles County Supervisor Sheila Kuehl dining outdoors at her favorite Santa Monica restaurant after voting to ban outdoor dining at 31,000 restaurants throughout LA, calling outdoor dining a most dangerous situation. Quite clearly, these Democrats do not follow their own edicts. They act in a way that their own citizens are barred from acting. Governor Cuomo's decision to impose restrictions on the size of religious gatherings was rebuked by the highest court in the land. But what was Cuomo's response? Instead of showing deference to the Constitution, he attacked the legitimacy of the court. Governor Cuomo said this: You have a different court, and I think that was the statement that the court was making. We know who he appointed to the court. We know their ideology. Well, in fact, the ideology of those on the Supreme Court who made the decision to support the First Amendment are in favor of freedom, the Constitution that survives even during a pandemic. This statement from Governor Cuomo strikes at the heart of the issue. Democrats seek control. These images behind me make clear Democrats' mindset. Rules for thee, but not for me. The president stands with you, your freedom, your ability to decide how to best protect your health. We all know how to protect ourselves from COVID-19, wash your hands, socially distance, wear a mask. But as one federal court put it, there is no pandemic exception to the Constitution. And with that, I'll take questions. Welcome back, Kristen. Good to have you back.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. I want to ask you about comments that the Attorney General made to the Associated Press. He said, quote, "To date, we have not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the election." Given that, why hasn't President Trump considered?
So first, he went on to say this. It was in an AP interview where he made that initial comment, but in that same AP interview, he went on to say that he thinks a lot of people are confusing the use of the federal criminal justice system with allegations that should be made in civil lawsuits. And he discerned the fact that, he said, quote, "There's a growing tendency to use the criminal justice system as sort of a default fix-all, and the campaigns litigation is all civil litigation, which is apart from something that the DOJ would be involved in."
I'll work with you on that. Of more than 40 cases that have been brought by the president's legal team, the majority have been denied or dismissed. The election results have been certified in all of the battleground states. The president still think he has a path to win?
The president has said that he believes all legal votes should be counted and all legal votes should not be counted. And in fact, the campaign is pursuing that litigation. I can't get into the details of that litigation here, but they still do have active cases in Nevada and Wisconsin.
How do you overturn the results when you've already been certified in these battleground states?
Again, the president is just looking for every legal vote to be counted, and I will leave it to the campaign to pursue their ends.
Does he have faith in Attorney General Bill Barr? Does he still have confidence in Bill Barr?
The president, if he has any personnel announcements, will be the first to know it. Yeah. We'll go for Janet.
Thank you. Two questions. Has the president then spoken to Attorney General Bill Barr since this comments came out yesterday?
I'm not aware if they've spoken. I know the Attorney General was here yesterday for a pre-planned meeting with the Chief of Staff, and they discussed an array of issues, but I'm not aware if the president has spoken to him directly.
The president considered any preemptive pardons to any of his kids? Has he talking to Attorney Giuliani about this?
I've heard no mention of any pardons in any conversations I've had in the White House, other than the pardon of Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, a 3-star general who I've discussed from this podium before, who had his life ruined. He was a valiant hero who served his country both on the battlefield and then came to work in government. And what happened to him was there was an FBI note that said they wanted to get Lieutenant General Michael Flynn to lie. There then was a criminal leak of his identity in a phone call he had. He was told no lawyers were needed in the discussion the FBI was having with him. FBI investigators then after said they did not think that Lieutenant General Michael Flynn was lying, but yet he was still pursued in an unjust manner. And the government failed to provide the original FBI 302s from that interview. It was an egregious miscarriage of justice, and we're finally glad that justice was served for a war hero, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. David.
Are you planning to announce his 2024 candidacy in a formal event here at the White House before January 20th or even on January 20th?
I've not heard any discussions of that. I'm aware of the reporting, but the president's campaign is currently pursuing active litigation, and that is the focus, at least at the moment.
You heard his comments last night. It sounds like he's planning to run again. Do you know if that's the fact?
I haven't spoken to him about that again. His campaign is pursuing litigation. I would redirect you to the campaign. Yeah. Yes.
Mark Meadows has been meeting with Commissioner Hahn. What is being discussed? And also, did the White House get a heads up that the UK was going to be approving the Pfizer vaccine?
I'm not aware of any heads up that we were given. But what I will say about Dr. Hahn is it is par for the course for the Chief of Staff to meet with him as we're trying to save American lives with a vaccine in record time. In fact, 2 vaccines, not only a vaccine in record time, You heard Monsef Slawi say a vaccine normally takes anywhere from 4 years to 25 years. He said that in an interview last week, and this was in 10 months. It's remarkable progress, but we still want to make sure that it comes as fast, as expeditiously, but as safely as possible, because we know by that each day that passes, there are more American lives at stake. So we want to make sure it comes out as quickly as the data allows it to, and we will have 40 million doses by the end of the year, which is a tremendous achievement, not just to have gotten a vaccine in this time, but to have produced 40 million in advance. It's having a businessman as president. It's the Trump vaccine. Yes, Justin.
Thanks. I had a couple of policy things, but first I just wanted to go back to what you said about personnel. Right before the election in a rally, the president suggested that he might fire Dr. Fauci after the vote had happened. And so I was wondering if you could comment on what Dr. Fauci's status is and if you have any.
Yeah, I've heard no discussions of that. Dr. Fauci's still hard at work on the task force.
And then there were two things that the president mentioned as policy goals that would happen before the election that we haven't seen any sort of obvious progress on. So I wanted to check in on those. The first is the $200 Medicare prescription drug card that was supposed to happen before the election. It seems to have sort of vanished. So I was wondering if you could give an update on that.
Let me follow up with the chief of staff on that. I haven't heard any current discussions about it, but I will follow up with you.
He had also promised an immigration order, an executive order on immigration that would protect dreamers. Again, he promised that before the election. Do you have any other?
He put forth many different immigration packages on HB1 visas and others to protect American workers. I will circle back, but there were many iterations of immigration news prior to the election.
Does that work progressing at this point, or have you sort of thrown in the towel?
I think right now the focus is making sure that there is stimulus relief for Americans who are hurting right now. So that is the current active policy priority that we are working on moment by moment, along with COVID. Yes. Yes.
KAYLEIGH, as demonstrated by the large red ribbon out around the White House, yesterday was World AIDS Day. The president issued his proclamation yesterday, but consistent with his previous three proclamations, omitted any reference to LGBTQ people, even though they bear the brunt of HIV/AIDS. The president included a reference to racial and ethnic minorities, so why not LGBTQ people?
The president honored World AIDS Day yesterday, and no president has before, with the red ribbon there.
federal officials investigating a potential bribe for pardon scheme. Has anybody at the White House been questioned by federal law enforcement officials regarding potential bribes for a pardon?
No, and in fact, the DOJ official said yesterday that no government official was or is currently a subject or target of the investigation disclosed in this filing. Yeah, Andrea.
So thanks for taking my question. I wanted to ask about FBI Director Wray. Though it looks like President-elect Biden wants to keep him in his job, does that change the president's perspective on FBI Director Wray, and does he retain full confidence in him?
Yeah, he's made no assessments, and at least in my presence, about that. And if we have any personnel announcements, we'll let you know.
Can I just follow up on the vaccine issue? You said 40 million doses. I recall the president saying, and perhaps even you saying, that you were looking for 100 million doses by the end of the year. That 40 million is quite a bit short. So can you just clarify that number?
So there are currently 6 vaccines that we have identified as vaccines that we were hopeful would come to fruition. And with several of those, if not each of them, I can follow up with you on the exact number. We have manufacturing contracts. We have manufactured doses with several of these, but they have to come to completion. So with each new vaccine that comes, along with that will come millions and millions of doses that have already been manufactured in time. But currently, of the 4 vaccines in phase 3 clinical trial, Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Janssen, 2 of those have gotten to the point of applying for an EUA. So really, it's incumbent on the manufacturer and those going through the phase 3 clinical trial to get that data to us, and then it's manufactured and ready to go. So the moment someone else gets to a 94% effectiveness rate or whatever the barometer is, we will have those doses. Yes. Yes.
I have just 2 quick questions. Georgia officials have said election workers there are facing threats because of the president's false claims about winning the state and his rhetoric throughout the election. Does the president condemn threats against election workers, or does he take any responsibility for those threats?
We condemn any threats against anyone. There's no place for violence. What I will say, though, too, is that the president's lawyers, they were doxxed by a left organization. Their private information put out, so we're seeing that happen to people on both sides of the argument, and there's no place for that ever anywhere.
Real quick, the CDC director today said that the next few months could be among the worst public health months in American history. I wonder, does the White House, is it setting a good example for the public for the White House to go in-person holiday parties at a time when the CDC and other organizations are asking Americans to forego those kinds of celebrations for their own safety?
Yeah, so, if you can loot businesses, burn down buildings, engage in protests, you can also go to a Christmas party. You can celebrate the holiday of Christmas, and you can do it responsibly, which is why the East Wing has noted that they'll have smaller guest lists. Masks are going to be available. Social distancing is going to be encouraged. Hand sanitizing stations, among other measures. But we will engage in the celebration of Christmas, and there will be a Hanukkah celebration as well. Yes. Yes. Meredith.
Thanks. Does President Trump, has he had any kind of conversations with allies on Capitol Hill about challenging Joe Biden's electoral college votes with Congress? We saw one of his allies today said he plans to do that. Is that a conversation with the president had at all?
Not that I'm aware of. Inez.
The White House Coronavirus Task Force is privately telling governors that Americans under the age of 40 who gathered with people outside their households at Thanksgiving are dangerous to others and should isolate immediately. Why is the White House not publicly sharing that same information with Americans?
You said that was in a, what document was that?
The White House Coronavirus Task Force is privately telling governors
that those are Thanksgiving celebrations that there's CDC guidance out there as to when you should and should not isolate. So I would point you to that. That's all been publicly available since the beginning of all of this. Christian.
Yeah, thanks, Kayleigh. So some version of the defense authorization makes it to the president's desk with language that terminates Section 230. Would he sign it into law, even if there's language in there that renames cases bearing Confederate, names or named after Confederate officials?
Yeah, he said before he's very much against the Warren Amendment, and public polling is with him on that. How that intersects with the 230 tweet, I will have to follow up with him about. I don't know if that position has changed, given what he tweeted recently, but I will follow up on that.
And then on China,
Yes.
Joe Biden told the Times that he doesn't want to roll back the China tariffs for the phase 1 trade deal. You know if the president plans on reaching out to Mr. Biden to talk about, China trade, since it's been such a hot policy issue, or any other policy really, before January 20th?
I'm not aware of any plans of that at the moment, but if I do, I'll let you know. Yeah. Meredith.
You gave some examples of, lawmakers who've been talking about COVID, but I am curious, where has President Trump been in offering public leadership on this topic of the coronavirus, especially as we've seen cases surge? We haven't seen the president make any sort of public comments or even tweets about this surge in cases. So I'm curious what sort of examples you have.
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, he's created the greatest testing system in the world. He gave a press conference about 2 weeks ago, I believe, on the vaccine, which he has done at warp speed because he's torn down bureaucratic barriers. He's been hard at work. He's done, I don't know how many coronavirus task force briefings from this podium, but the work he's done speaks for itself. The fact that now the case fatality rate in this country is 2%. It was 6% in April. And what that means is it's a testament to our therapeutics. Another thing that happened recently, in fact, mid-November, got almost no attention, but it's again a testament to the president, is the 2 new therapeutics. They are renditions of one is a monoclonal antibody, another one is a Regeneron therapeutic. And these 2 therapeutics are given to people with mild to moderate COVID symptoms that are at high risk for severe COVID or hospitalization. So the fact that we've got to the point where we now have therapeutics we can give you in advance to try to prevent you from going to a hospital. And we've sent out 169,000 vials of one and 36,000 vials of another just in a few weeks. He's hard at work at this with the task force behind the scenes. And when we talk about his public leadership, just on COVID generally, I think it's a fitting time, given your question, to note Dr. Fauci now says that we should keep the schools open. He said that this Sunday. This is something the president has said for months. It caused me to go back to July and look at one of my briefing books from July 16th, 2020. And what I found in there was this. The science was always on our side about keeping schools open way back in July. It's being acknowledged now, but in July, you had Dr. Redfield saying, unlike flu, kids are not driving the transmission cycle. You had Dr. Atlas, who's been a leading voice on keeping the schools open, saying everyone else in the Western world, our peer nations are doing it. We can do it. This was back in July. We had a study from the Netherlands about few reports of infections from schools that had stayed open. This was back in July. You had a Yale School of Public Health professor named Albert Coe saying that the bottom line is the impacts of COVID-19 on children is minimal or very low compared to other groups. There was a Lancet quote to that same effect. This was back in July when the president was saying, keep the schools open. I'm looking at the science. It's detrimental to keep kids out of school. But what were Democrats saying? When the president was following the science, here's what Democrats were saying. You had Governor Gavin Newsom say this: I'm not taking pressure from Trump on opening schools. You had Governor Cuomo saying it's not up to the president about opening schools as schools were shut down. You had Mayor de Blasio, who interestingly reversed himself this week, and now kids can go back to school. But back in July, when the science was on our side, he was saying what we won't do is ignore the science and recklessly charge ahead like our president, who was always following science. You had Jennifer Rubin tweeting that now he wants to kill your kids. I'm not sure how that's responsible reporting. And then you had Anderson Cooper saying that he actually just doesn't care about kids at all, nor the health of their teachers and parents. And you had the American Federation of Teachers and the National Education Association railing against the president as well. The president's followed the science. He's also kept in mind we have a constitution, and he will be unashamed and always advocating for the science in the best interest of the children of this country. Thank you very much.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us here at Golden State Times. If you guys liked our coverage, make sure that you subscribe and you click that bell to get more full coverage from the White House, President Trump, and politics in general. Also, make sure you check out our website, goldenstatetimes.com. If you're looking for a new place to get your headlines and you no longer go to Drudge Report, then make sure you check out goldenstatetimes.com.